Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Blue. Welcome to CastNauts. Today we're going to be looking at another replay that was sent in from, or not sent in, but another one of the replays that was listed over from the good people at Awesome Nuts Rumble. Once again, guys, thanks for this. Really appreciate it. And the last match we watched, it was Cute Men versus Team D. This is going to be the second match of their set, and let's see how it goes. Once again, on a Gillian. Unfortunately, I know it does start a little bit of the ways in again. I'm not entirely sure why. So, last time, Team D unfortunately did lose the fight quite quickly, I might add, just due to a really bad team fight, as we saw, the Penny initiating in. Hopefully they'll be able to, learn from their mistakes. Hopefully learn from their mistakes, and maybe they'll get a win out of this. I actually don't know. I actually haven't watched the Rumble in a while, I'll be honest. I kind of skate by on most Awesome Nuts events, to be honest. It's just me, though. I do enjoy them occasionally, but I never like watch them consecutively. So, on Red Team today, for Team D, Nebraska playing Scoop last time, now playing Sentry, so we're switching from a tank to another. Abdi sticking with Penny in this situation, the build was solid last time, so hopefully she'll be able to do a bit of work. And Dude Reno, instead of playing Frog this time, switching over to Scoop, so they're a quite tanky composition. So let's see how that goes. Back to Cute Men. For Dave W, currently playing Genji this time. Ubi, I'm just going to say Ubi, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it, playing Ix, and Nikki playing Ted this time, quite interestingly. So quite a very supportive team backing up Nikki over here. So it's going to be quite interesting to see how it goes. Starting off the build, Penny starting off with Heron Snack Badge again, as I've been over it before. It's going to be very useful for early game sustain and early game team fights. Nikki being very offensive right out of the gate, trying to use the invisibility orb to get a nice airstrike over on somebody trying to counter it. Sentry taking Night Vision Spy Watch quite early. That's going to give Sentry a lot of power to be sustained. Unfortunately for the Sentry, Nikki was ready with the airstrike, and Sentry was just caught between a rock and a hard place. He was moving up. He's moving back up, down, trying to escape him, and he just didn't see the airstrike in time. Scoop once again starting off with Banner Triple Scoop. That's going to, once again, it's going to help him a lot with his early game farm, if anything else. But I still don't think it was the right. I still don't think it's the right move to take early. Like I said last time, slowing is going to be great. Hell, even Holy Cup right out of the gate. It kind of is. It's not the biggest heal in the universe, but it's going to be something to help his team out in team fights. Nikki starting off with Tedris File after picking it, which is going to give Ted a lot of poke in the early game. It's going to, and also just, if anything, a DPS output with the rapid swapping from shotgun to machine gun. So it's going to give him, a lot of the poke he needs in order to really farm into his late game, and of course set up team fights that are going to be in his favor. Ix starting off with Crystal Crunch, so a bit of lifesteal out of the gate, Piggy Medican, so he's going for quite a sustained thing. If anything, that's really what Ix needs. He needs that bit of sustain early game to try and get into his mid game, or like his more powerful mid game and late game. Really let him get his build sorting out while he figures. Really, it sets him off for what he needs so he can react to what he needs to be building. Genji starting off with Woolshaw, Piggy, Classic Primaries, the same build as before. Quite very poke heavy in the early game, quite very farm heavy, a bit progressive, and it seems to be working out for them. Unfortunately for the Penny here, accidentally engaging into a 1v3. Like Sentry and Scoop in the jungle, heading down to the bottom lane. Penny going up and just getting engaged in by the entire enemy team. Unfortunately, it was a bad situation for Penny to really go into that situation. And then Scoop going down due to Ix chasing him down. Did he get hit by a airstrike perhaps? No, he just get poked out by the superior damage being put out here by Tedris, by Shotgun, and by Prasic Player Breeds. And unfortunately for Genji, this might be quite a bad situation for him, because Sentry doesn't have the best clear in the universe. His most effective clear, for the most part, is Teleburst in the early game. Maybe getting a bit of AA damage might be his best bet here. Maybe even getting a bit of, what is it called? Lifesteal. Tactical Vest. That's what it's called, my bad. Something that gives him a bit of the edge in the early team fight. Scooping up Snow Shovel, he wants to get a bit of sustain out there. If he wants to start with Snow Shovel, I'm not sure why he would start with Banner Triple Scoop. Like, one stage of Banner Triple Scoop just doesn't make sense. If you want to go for Banner, it's more often a better idea to go for it in at least 2 stages. That way you have some actual DPS from it. It's not just 130 solar for an investment. the blue team over here with once again, another very powerful team fight. You know, they have quite powerful team fight potential. Two very powerful single target abilities in the form of Link and in the form of Cocoon. Ix actually showing off why his Insane is very good to have early. Being able to actually outfight both of Scoop and Sentry, but unfortunately extending a bit too far, not expecting the Sentry to teleport in and getting way too tunnel vision and trying to kill the Scoop. And he also did screw up killing the Scoop, I might add, where he's chasing the Scoop down, Scoop is linked, Scoop falls down, and right here is the moment that, well, actually about like a second before, but right there was the moment that Ix should have swapped out, and then he might have been able to take the Scoop with him. But unfortunately the Sentry was ready for him, and he just took him out. Which is a shame.
What did I say again?
Ted getting Grenade for Hame, that's going to be huge for his team. That's going to allow him to land these airstrikes more efficiently. That's going to be able to just basically win team fights. And that's going to be huge for stuff like Sentry, who can engage in, but then immediately get stunned after trying to engage in. Picking up Commander Ted figurine, which is just meaning more damage, and sorry for that too. Building quite heavy into the damage, which is really what he needs right now. They're going for another oppressive, very fast rush-heavy build, rush-heavy team comp. You know, kind of, you know, beat your enemy down before they can really try and beat you down, then that would be the way to go. Ix picking up Salt Miner and Shredded Mining Permit, not gonna say I agree with it, but it would help, especially if they're going for another very rush-heavy build, especially if they're going for a rush-heavy build, to be honest. You know, it's just gonna be useful, and it's gonna, you know, make their team fight even more powerful, especially with Grenade Borhame actually allowing X's Salt Miner to get consistent ticks. Unfortunately for Scoop up here, he did get kind of caught out of position. You know, he tried to get out, but the Wool Shaw and combined with Plastic Fairies are just going to be too much for Scoop. You know, building a bit of tank right now would be probably the best thing for Scoop. Maybe getting a bit of, what is it called? Barrier Magazine. You know, getting a bit of Barrier Mag early, that could do wonders for him. Pills as well. If he had a bit more time in that fight up there, you know, like, even like Penguin Squad, that would be huge for him as well. Getting Spiral Lance, and I don't know why. These are all very close range knots. Spiral Lance isn't going to do much for him outside of trying to get, you know, stragglers who are trying to escape. And I believe, did Ix just miss a kill? No, he did not. He did actually use his Refract to try and, you know, get out of the black hole. But unfortunately, actually letting down his team slightly, it would have been a tricky shot, as we can see here. Genji and Ted getting pulled in, it's still a good thing to go for a Link in this situation. You know, it's sure they could engage out and then you can link them down and you can try and focus them down, but trying to save your Ted I think would be a little more important. But you know, it all depends. So unfortunately for the Ted, he did go down. I do think the Ix could have tried to save him, but, you know, it might have been better just to save the Link and cut your losses. Unfortunately for the Ix, getting telebursted without actually realizing what happened before it was too late. Genji taking the Caterpillar quite early, wants to get a bit of heal out, wants to get a bit of support of help for herself, and that's going to be huge for this Ix. You know, he already has a bit of sustain, so might as well stack it on in team fights. Scoop getting second stage of Banner or Triple Scoop. A bit late, to be honest. I still don't think getting Banner or Triple Scoop this early and then Bomb remember after Twister lands. I do think that Ix is kind of have a stagnated build that doesn't really seem to be focusing on anything in particular and more goes for a more generalist style, which really isn't what he needs right now. He does need a more, punishing style. Getting cooldown quite early, and try and maybe combo that with stun duration. That could be huge for his team fight. Unfortunately for Scoop, he does not have the tank currently to keep up with the damage output from Ted. Getting second stage of Salt Miner on Ix, that's going to be huge for him. That's going to, increase his clear. That's going to increase his team fight potential, especially when combo with Grenade Borhame. It's just going to be huge for his team. Sentry getting Silence Pulse after picking up Mediken. Mediken is going to be huge for him as well. It's going to allow him to stick around in lane more. It's just going to be a good upgrade overall. Silence Pulse can be actually the team fight winner in this situation, you know. Comboing it with Black Hole, and then suddenly you're in a really good situation. The only problem is, you know, it's going to be incredibly hard for him to initiate in most situations with. You know, it can be used as a very good trap, but past that, I'm not sure what else it's really going to do, especially against Genji with his range. And Tedris, you know, it's going to be really hard for him to really get anywhere with it. Unfortunately for the Penny, trying to engage in, you know, it's maybe set it up for her team. You know, she's fighting down line. She goes trying to flank him into behind. Her team is just slightly too slow. Sentry not ready for it at all, to be honest. Gets linked and then gets stuck inside the airstrike. And unfortunately for a red team, I think this is going to be a wipe for them. With the Genji's Wool Shaw. Yeah, Wool Shaw wiping the team. finishing off Scoop, and that's going to be huge. Once again, top turret, I believe it's about to go down, to be honest. And I'm sensing a pattern here of red team not really being able to engage, mostly because of their build. Like, right. So, Sentry's build, it's not bad, but not in the right order, to be honest. Getting Silence Pulse right out of the gate would have been a little bit of a better decision. Going for a really oppressive play, you know, a really aggressive play on Sentry's part from the very beginning, setting up the initiation for his team, then giving Penny the liberty to come in and clean up when she can. Mostly attacking, you know, going after Genji, of course, trying to bait out this, you know, the cocoon. And it would just give her a lot more pressure. Once again, though, going for Sentient Rock, it can be huge for the team, especially when comboed with ringtones for the death. That's going to give them so much more team fight potential. But I just don't think it's enough. Once again, you know, the enemy team, you know, blue team over here, they just have a lot of damage output, and they have a lot of poke. They just have basically everything they need for the situation. You know, they have poke, they have damage, and they have sustain. Ted picking up second command of Ted figurine just for even more damage, and grenade, which is just going to be more air denial and even more damage on top of Shotgun's already really good damage output, especially when combo with Darkstorm Statue. Scooping of Spoon Man, and I really think that it was the Scoop that let Red Team down in this situation. His build is just so generalized, it's never going to be able to commit to anything. Like, he starts off with Banner of Triple Scoop, which would have been good if it wasn't for the fact that they had a Ix and a Genji that went very, very early into Cap Pillar. You know, taking it as a first item, it just leaves it open to get countered by any sustain. You know, taking it later on, where maybe if the enemy team didn't build sustain because they didn't need it at the time, you know, that might have been a bit better for it. And then following it up with Snow Shovel into Twisterlands. Snow Shovel, I can at least, you know, understand why he would take it. You know, he's getting killed a lot, or his team is getting killed a lot, or, you know, just like he's getting poked out because of all the harass coming out from Will Shaw or Tedris. You know, it makes sense why he would take it. But unfortunately, it's just, I don't think it was, like, it just wasn't enough for what it needed. You know, getting Penguin Squire quite early, getting, hell, Milk of Righteousness, getting just General Medicant. You know, it's an unfortunate state of affairs for the Scoop that his build just didn't work out. Following it up with, actually, I do need to see it now. Twisterlands, you know, that just didn't make sense. These are all very close range knots, especially with Ted having to get in there quite rough for the airstrikes to land effectively, for the grenade pour Hame, just if anything for the shotgun doing really good damage. And then even more so with the Genji having to not having to get too close, but close enough for Will Shaw to even hit, which would help. Like, it's in base hammer range. So I'm not entirely sure why. And even more so with the Ix, who's going for a very close range build with the Salt Miner and Shredded Mining Permit. You know, he's gonna be right up against you, so why bother with the hammer range? If you want to damage, just buy damage, you know, on hammer. If anything, I still think snare duration on hammer might have been really a useful thing for his team. You know, snare them down, make it so they can't dodge your Sentry's Black Hole, maybe get a bit of, actually no, you don't even need to build beside Black Hole in this, building more into it. If anything, AA would have been really good for Sentry, you know, getting lifesteal a bit early maybe, getting a bit of damage out there. Hell, even AoE just for clear, and a bit of push in there. You know, it might have been, you know, area denial, and all of it. You know, Sentry's AA, it's very versatile for that reason. You know, it helps him lane, it helps him farm, it helps his team lane, it helps his team farm. It just helps his team out a lot with his AA. Which unfortunately he didn't focus on it. He focused a bit more on sustain and CC, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. You know, he wasn't really there enough for it. You know, if anything, maybe a bit more tank. Getting kills a bit earlier might have been helped now, but unfortunately it just didn't do it for him. I've been Blue, and thanks for watching this episode of CastNauts. I hope you learned something today about builds and about tactics. If you have any replays you want to get shown on the show, or have me critique them, or whatever the hell I do over here, you know, send them to the email address down below. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching.